Here are the horoscopes for the week of the 6th to the 12th of July 2015. Now we begin with the first weekend and the moon opposite Venus and Jupiter. So the moon in Aquarius is always very energized. It's the neurons firing in our brain. It's the electric field that we live in. We live in an electromagnetic field, and Aquarius is the electrical side of that, and that's what the zigzags actually represent, the electricity flying through the cosmos, flying through our brains and flying through our lives. So to have the moon in Aquarius for a short while opposite Venus and Jupiter, it's to be authentic and then to shine out from the heart and the sovereign self, the true unconditional love, the true vision of the future, and to actually imagine that going out and electrifying and activating your world. So it's a weekend at the beginning of the week to be bigger than we are, to think about the collective, to think about consciousness raising, where we're heading as a whole, and to actually amplify and send out those vibrations. By Monday and all through the week, we're in an alignment with Sirius. So they used to call these the dog days, but that's now become synonymous with warm weather, with laziness, with lying around in the summer, too hot to move, just basking in the sun. And yet this is a very small representation of what it actually means. Around the 4th to the 10th of July, we line up with the star Sirius, and also on the 1st to the 4th of January. So this is why in Britain we celebrate New Year's Day on the 1st of January. It's a Sirius alignment, and this is why in the States Independence Day was picked for the 4th of July, because it's the Earth, Sun and Sirius in alignment. It's called the dog star because it's in Canis Major, which is the great dog, and nearby we have Canis Minor as well. So Sirius is said to be our twin sun. There's some great rediscovery work being done at the moment of what the ancients already knew, which was that we're in a binary sun system with Sirius. We go round, and 2012 was a big deal to do with the Sirian alignment as well. So we are in a twin sun system apparently with the star system Sirius, and we can see the seriousness of this when we look at how that's depicted in architecture and iconography, because Sirius is associated with Isis or Aset, the Egyptian female mother principle. So you'll see this in blue and white. It's the sky and the stars, it's the primal ocean, the Cancerian mother womb that we come from, and Isis is associated with the Divine Mother principle. So when we line up Earth, Sun and Sirius, we're in direct reception of the vibration of getting connected back to the Divine Feminine. But the Divine Feminine's been slightly hijacked of late in the last few decades. So when many people think of feminine, they either think of passive, waiting, weak, or they think of a warrior that needs to come back and stamp her power on a male-dominated world. But those are the two polar opposites of what feminine really is. It's the magnetic principle. It's presence, it's attractiveness, because we attract through our magnetic. So it's the magnetic. We've had the electric of the moon in Aquarius sending out those vibes at the weekend, and now we dive into the magnetic principle. So it's presence, it's power, it's holding, and it's nourishing, and it's loving from the unconditional. Not having to fight and battle with the masculine, but not having to be second and weak in comparison to the masculine. So on these days, either January the 1st to the 4th or July the 4th to the 10th, it's a great opportunity to get back into connection with the power of the beingness of the feminine principle. So that permeates the entire week. When we get to Tuesday, we have Mercury leaving Gemini. So again, we get that retrospective because we've been on a merry dance since the beginning of May. We've been down the rabbit hole, we've gone on a mad voyage, we've changed our mind, we've refreshed ourselves. Hopefully we're coming out the other side now, younger, and more rejuvenated, because although we've learnt a lot, and wisdom is often associated with age, we've actually gone back and torn up some of the contracts which have been weighing us down and causing density. So there should be a feeling of lightness, a feeling of recognition, a feeling of being able to control our thoughts a bit more and to be masterful of what we're thinking and what we're creating and what we're being. So by Wednesday, Mercury goes into Cancer, so a lot of Cancerian energy around this month. Mercury joins the Sun and Mars there, and we get a chance to explore now where we've been exploring our mind and our programming. Now we're exploring how that's impacted our cells. And our cells are containing water and surrounded by a membrane. And mem is the old word for water. And mem is where we get memory from. And brain is obviously our processing units. So the memory and the brain of the membrane of the cells, this is our emotional intelligence that we're exploring here. So all of those thoughts have gone in and impacted our cells and caused emotional programming. So you'll know that this happens when you feel triggered, when something happens and you suddenly get a knee-jerk reaction or a feeling. Think of the gut, think of the sacral centre, think of when you get that feeling like your stomach drops or something gives you butterflies in your stomach. This is the area that we're dealing with the Cancerian cellular energy. So we're looking now for the next few weeks on how our thoughts and our memories, our mental memories, have actually imprinted our cellular memory and created psychological programming on the emotional level. And we've got a chance for the next few weeks to go in and rinse ourselves out and lose the density of that. We don't need to have programmed emotions. We need to have our emotions in alignment with our new mind presence, so that when we feel something we can actually know that it's a authentic feeling, it's ours and it's relevant to the current day. It's not just going back and acting and reacting from a painful experience in the past, or escaping to just hedonism and lovely experiences and repeating those, but that are avoiding the responsibility of reality. So we're heading into some very deep water now, but with Mercury in Cancer we can actually turn our mind to our emotions and see and observe and rinse any programming that's being held inside. The rest of the week is quite sparky. We have Venus and Jupiter in a good alignment with Uranus, so we have a continuation of the first weekend, which is to have revolutionary thoughts, to think bigger, to think for the future, to have that vision and to have that bravery to break down what needs to go in order to be able to resonate and bring in the much greater and the much more magnificent. So by the end of the week we are powerhouses for actually knowing the bigger picture and for seeing through the traditional, seeing through what needs to be broken down, and we have the power, and especially the transmitting power through the heart and the solar plexus, to be the change that we want to see. So at this point life begins to flow a bit more smoothly if we realise that the representations of the daily stresses and strains that we're attracting are actually clouds that pass overhead, and they're lessons, and all we have to do is ask what we're learning rather than get emotionally and mentally involved with the story. So anything that comes up towards the end of the week, try and be the observer, try and allow the outcome, both of its options if not more, and watch as the scenarios go past and overhead, knowing that they are short-lived but they are delivering messages to us. But if we stand in the central point with our mind and our emotions and our vision in coherence, then we can just see that these are shifting patterns. These are not something to get too involved with and to belong to, because the Mercury retrograde taught us, if anything else, non-attachment, where we're attaching to something, where we're causing that density, and where we can let go of that because we control our lives in a way that's different to the way that we're taught. So we often try and grab onto a situation and control it with our mind, Whereas if we stay in the centre and we allow the situation to happen, then it often delivers a message and brings an outcome which is favourable without us trying to control it. So very centred, very strong, and very intuitive with all this water energy around. It's very important to be still long enough to listen to the sweet whisper of intuition. So life is very busy. Hopefully we've cleared our minds. Hopefully we're clearing our emotional reactions and staying centred long enough to actually hear the voice of intuition and see the vision for the future. So this week we're going into a dark moon phase, but by next week we'll be able to act upon some of this energy as we head into the new moon. So for now it's just about being in the inner stillness, listening to the voice of intuition, feeling into the waters of the body, and our body actually knows right from wrong, truth from falsity, and levity from density, without us having to think about it. So just a clearing and a holding in the primal waters of Cancer before we go through to the new moon next week, and we can energise from a more sovereign space. So those are the horoscopes for this week, and I'll see you next week. This week on Wednesday I have my Astrology Tarot meetup group in Camden, so please do contact me if you're interested in that. We'll be looking at the energies of the coming month and having some practical exercises on how to harness those. But also you get to work with your own chart, which is the best part of astrology and the part that many people miss out on because they don't know where to start. So I've begun a small meetup group. That's Wednesday the 8th of July in Camden, 7 till 9. Please do let me know if you'd like to get a copy of your chart and come along and begin working and walking with it. Then on Friday, my workshop for the month is working with the moon cycles, because we're in the sign of Cancer, and Cancer is ruled by the moon. So many people celebrate the full moon and the new moon, but where does that fit in your chart? How can you actually make a yearly plan to draw down the moon and to work with it on a more personal level and make yourself a personal lunar planner? So again, that's in Camden, 7 till 9 on Friday the 10th. So please do contact me if you're interested in a reading. If you can't make those meetups, then I am available on Skype. We can do these sessions in a reading, or you're welcome to tune in to any of my online courses and begin to learn this technique for yourself. So have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next week.